every single day. I'll be here 3 hours before the start of this broadcast. Those are my working hours. So let's start with what's happening in politics. Nelson Chamisa has come back with a bang, and he has eclipsed every single politician in Zimbabwe. When Chamisa starts moving, things start moving in Zimbabwe. And Mkoma wangu MS, I was watching your comments as I was sitting here. Muchiti, you must prove that Chamisa's popularity has risen sharply. So what has happened is Nelson Chamisa, whenever he moves and he gets out of the shadows, people respond in a way that is emphatic. So there is no question about the love for Nelson Chamisa that people have got in the community. And Mangaba is going to struggle. It's clear that Mangaba is going to struggle. If ever there is going to be an election, Mangaba is going to lose to Nelson Chamisa. Mangaba, Auraiva, and Nzara. People are very hungry under Mangaba. No one is making money. Now Mangaba is clearly the worst president that Zimbabwe has ever had. Everything is falling apart. The currency is crashing. Economically, everything is not moving. Crime is rising. Prices are rising. In fact, there is now a shortage of goods in the shops. Cement has run out, and Mnangagwa is failing to complete any of his project. There is no project that Mnangagwa has started that he has finished. And the Chasara Kutaza Mkoma wangu wiki now, he's the only person that is saving Mnangagwa, distracting people from what is actually happening. And let's start with a video, right? I want us to start with a video. This happened yesterday. In fact, I think that was on Sunday when Chamisa was coming from Chivi. I don't want to play this video a lot. I just want to show you a bit. But Chamisa did tweet about it. So if you go to Chamisa's Twitter, you will see the video. But besides that video, there is a lot that is happening behind the scenes. People love Nelson Chamisa. People are begging Nelson Chamisa to come up and announce his new political outfit. And this is going to happen very, very soon. And when it happens, Mnangagwa stands no chance. It will be as if the CCC was never destroyed. And to make matters worse, everyone in the CCC is falling behind Nelson Chamisa. There's no one who thinks they can proceed without him. So let's look at the video very quickly. Then I proceed with giving you the stories. Today will be within our 10 minutes, I promise you. So here is the video of Nelson Chamisa at OK Masvingo. Right, I don't want to keep playing that video. If you want to watch that video, go to Nelson Chamisa's Twitter. Chamisa is extremely popular. And I promised you guys, Kuti, if Chamisa launches, I'll go and do whatever Chamisa is doing. This man has got a vision. You can see it clearly. Chamisa has got a clear vision for where Zimbabwe is going. You can compare Chamisa and Mnangagwa. It's not possible. You can't even compare the two. And he says here, humbling, on our way from Chivi, I made a brief stop at a local supermarket in Masvingo. I'm in awe of the deep love you show me. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for the trust, confidence, and encouragement. It's only, it can only be of God. You'll never be disappointed. God is in it. So what I always tell young people is, if you're a young person and you see yourself supporting Mnangagwa at this particular point, you are totally lost. Change that direction that you're taking. And yesterday I mentioned this when I was talking about Zigo. When we saw Zigo standing with what's his name, Chabangu. And I mentioned, Kuti, these young guys, this is the moment of truth. I know it's painful, and I know that you may need money, and it can appear as if you align yourself with ZANU-PF, you will get what you need now. But in the long run, that's a wrong move. These kind of things. Don't align yourself. And I tell people in private, big people, and I tell them, Mnangagwa, it's coming to an end. Don't think Kuti Mnangagwa is going to be there. So start thinking in the long term and don't align yourself with something that is ending. So Mnangagwa's term is ending. his period is ending. We're in the post-Mangaba era. And do not think that because maybe Chivayo can give you a car, or then you have to go over there. Try to stay away from these people who are in ZANU-PF right now. The current ZANU-PF leadership is not the ZANU-PF that you know that was there in the past. This is purely a family affair of Mangaba and his kids. That is what is happening. So young people, stay away from ZANU-PF and follow Chamisa. He's got a clear vision of what needs to happen. So that is what I have to say. You can't take away from Chamisa. He's very, very popular. People love him. So now let's go to the news, and you guys can go to Chamisa to look at all that happened at Masvingo. Okay, now let's look at the news. There's Tendai Biti. Tendai Biti was at the Daily Maverick event, and Mkomo wangu Zela Zgumbo Emmanuel is tweeted here. And if you go to the Daily Maverick YouTube channel, you see that there's a shot there, and the shot is Tendai Biti speaking at the event. It's a very long all-day event, and Tendai Biti has got a collaboration with the Daily Maverick. He gave a speech on the liberation movement, and this speech is trending because at the same time, Ana Obedimpovu, they're in Victoria Force with all the other liberation movements. So Ana Fikile Mbalula are over there, Obedimpovu is over there. I think there is also Tanzania, Botswana, Mozambique, all those liberation movements are sitting over there. So Tendai Biti's speech was very relevant. It's also relevant on what he was saying, which is to say that poverty has been weaponized. In that portion, I think that is what is very critical. What he said about poverty being weaponized and ignorance being weaponized. You can go and look at that speech. It's trending all over the internet. And this event is sponsored by 91 Financial Services. Every single politician that you know in South Africa, and Patricia Delul, and all the big politicians, and Julius Malema, they presented there. So you should go and look. It's on Facebook. It's almost 5 hours. So you can go and look. I tried to find BT's speech. The interesting portion I wanted to see is how BT introduced himself. So I promise you, I will look for that speech, and I want to see how Tendai BT introduced himself, or how he was introduced. I want to see if he's claiming he's still the vice president of the CCC. I'm not in touch with BT myself. In my whole life, I've only talked to BT, I think, once. I think the brother, there's one I've ever talked to. But BT, he is in a very difficult position. Very well experienced and well-known politician. But currently in what we call a no man's land. What is BT? Where is he going? He has failed to take up leadership. Because remember what I said, the moment of truth. When everyone stops, that's when a leader starts moving. And what BT has done is, when everyone stopped, he has stopped. Similar to Ngumbe, when everyone stopped, they stop. Whereas a leader is the one that goes to the front. When everyone else doesn't know what to do, when there's gunshots, Mangaba will run away. But a real leader is going to stand up and give direction. So at the moment, where BT has failed in Zimbabwe is when a gap was created and Chamisa left the CCC, he did not know what to do. And that is my biggest criticism of Tendai BT right now. And if a true leader is going to emerge in Zimbabwe, it is someone that does not stop when things are difficult and they make difficult decisions. And I think besides that criticism, BT has done quite well in terms of maintaining also his constituency. BT's constituency is the international community, guys in the embassies, guys in the presidents of many countries. Is very popular there. So he does have a constituency. But let's see where it goes. We might be seeing here the end of Tendai BT's career. So that is clear to me, because he failed to rise up and give direction in a very difficult moment. So the example I normally give is when you're a media house, there are certain stories that are very difficult to cover. When you know that this media house is a strong media house, is when they can stand up when everyone doesn't want to cover that story. For example, the military story. I can see all my brothers folding. They don't want to cover it because that is the moment of truth. You take leadership when other people don't want to take that leadership, and you go when other people don't want to go. That will make you a true leader. And I think Chamisa is doing that. He's doing very, very well. I cannot take away that from Chamisa. So let's go to quickly to other news, very important news. And I want to start with ZEC Chigumba has actually declared the election in Russia free and fair. You cannot believe it. She did announce that the election in Russia was free and fair. And let me show you her doing that. She did that last night on ZBC. She had a presentation in Russia. So let's see what Chigumba said here very quickly, and then I'll take you to the next story. Where is Chigumba? There is Chigumba. She doesn't want to play.
Nation has come to the conclusion that presidential elections in the Russian Federation observe the basic tenets of democratic elections, especially observance of Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Okay, my volume is not good, so I'm going to stop Chigumba. Chigumba said the election in Russia observed the basic tenets of human rights. I guess killing an opposition leader is a human right. I think that's why she's saying here. You know that the opposition leader was killed. I think that's called Navalny. And I don't know how that becomes a free and fair election. But I think the Russian election, basically, if they had an opposition, they would eventually remove a president. What these guys do is they take away the opposition. I don't think the actual process is the problem. The problem is political. So they eliminate the opposition before the election. And you've got a very strong guy who's going to make sure that is not opposed by anybody. And that is basically what's happening. So Chigumba over there in Russia. And I hope that SADC does come through and we have a rerun in Zimbabwe. I can assure you that these guys are going to lose. And Mangaba, they're not going to win. Mangaba is got no idea what to do right now. And I can assure you that Mangaba will lose. If there's a rerun, people are fed up. The current situation in the country is at its lowest that we've ever been. And to make matters worse, Mangaba is failing to complete any project. That is the biggest problem. He makes an announcement, like last month, he announced that we're going to have a new currency. And now, up to this date, there's no direction. There's no clear picture of where we're going. Because before we put a new currency in Zimbabwe, there will be no change in the economy. And to make matters worse, he's refusing to have dialogue with Nelson Chamisa, something that has been put on the table. So we still have a big problem in our country. And the removal of Mangaba, or the end of Mangaba's term, is the beginning of prosperity for our country. Now let's go to the next story, which is the Rwanda Zimbabwe Business Forum that is taking place in Kigali right now. And Sheila Chikomo, I saw her addressing there. A lot of business people from Zimbabwe and Rwanda right now. And I'll be trying to get video of the guys there. I think he's over there. I'll have a chat with him and see if he managed to travel to Rwanda. But all I can tell you is that Zimbabwe, you cannot have business in Zimbabwe and they're a foreign country, because you invest your money. After a year, your money is worth 1,000 less. So how do you do that? And you can't take your money out of the country. That is the problem. Mangaba has to address the problems in the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the issues with the currency. The currency has to be, the Zimbabwe dollar has to be removed. And that is where everything starts. Before you do that, you can't have an interest rate of 500%. People can't borrow. You can't fail to have currency, formal currency. You can't fail to have payment systems. And then you think things are going to work. On top of all the other issues that we have in Zimbabwe, the political issues, Mnangagwa is failing to address the political issues, which is dialogue. Dialogue is required. Take away the political problems, the barriers, and then the country will move. But Mnangagwa is so political. In fact, what he did yesterday was to call the people called the Chinese People's Conference. So I want to show you this. This guy is in Zimbabwe right now. The Chinese are playing a bigger part in Zimbabwe. So look at this guy here. He is in Zimbabwe. And I want to quickly play that also.
The CPC delegation is here in Zimbabwe, meaning to follow through on the important consensus reached between the two heads of state to further advance China-Zimbabwe comprehensive strategic.
Right, so to further advance Zimbabwe-China relationships, and to compare notes on our particular political activities. So that guy is in Zimbabwe. The Chinese guys are over there. The Chinese are on the ground. They extract minerals. But I want to explain to you that the difference between the Chinese who operate in the raw material area and what the Americans are offering. Remember what the Americans said, the small delegation from America said. They want to create relationships where Zimbabwe also enters the market in America. Whereas the Chinese, they want to come to Zimbabwe and get your materials. They're looking for a source of iron ore. They're looking for a source for lithium. They're looking for a source for all these other materials like iron. And that is the difference. The Americans want to go into the service industry. So check out what she said here. The lady was from the US.
I have been in Harare for the last 5 days, and it's been an amazing opportunity. I've learned just how educated the population is, just how many business opportunities there are, from telecommunications to real estate to technology to mining.
What I see is a lot of investment opportunities in international trade, bilateral trade, import, export, education, making sure that the people in Zimbabwe understand the regulations to get their goods into the U.S. market. And then
Right, so I wanted you to hear that. The investment model of the Chinese will never take us anywhere. They are very much focused on talking to the leadership of ZANU-PF and extracting from Zimbabwe. Whereas the American guys, if this model was to work, they want to look at a multi-sectoral approach, which is you look at education, technology, all those things that I showed you in the past. And I think Ibu Mandaza was talking about the structural weakness of the Zimbabwean economy, that it will never work. If you partner with a country which wants you to look at the economy in terms of its sectors, and make sure that its sector is properly developed. So if you look at the technology sector, in Zimbabwe, the technology sector is dead. You don't have internet. I don't know what has happened with the Starlink deal. So you start there. You give connectivity. You have proper telephones across the whole country. You have systems that work at the border. Then you have your wholesale sector. You fix your supply chains. You have your education sector working. Currently, Zimbabweans are everywhere, studying in different countries. You want the education sector in Zimbabwe to work. You want people to study relevant things. You want innovation to grow. So that is a different approach. And you also want to buy and sell. So if you look at South Africa and the United States, they've got a relationship where South Africa is allowed to sell a certain amount of goods in the United States. And the United States also supply into South Africa. I don't know if that is going to continue, but if Zimbabwe has such an arrangement, Zimbabwe doesn't even have Uber. Right now, you're not allowed to have Uber in Zimbabwe because of the situation of the previous sanctions. So these are the kind of things I'm talking about. The relationship that Mangaba is building with the Chinese makes no sense. And Mnangaba's picture, I always tell you, Mangaba does things that do not scale. He does. If you go to his farm, he's got a little patch of maize, and then his son is going to have a little hole that he digs with Scott Sakwanya where they extract gold. Their things are very small. And his friend, Wikino, is going to give one person a car. And that person is going to say, oh, I got a car. 12 million people won't benefit from what they're doing because they're focused on very small things. They're not broad. And to make matters worse, a guy from the president's office is going to be involved in crime. He's going to be a robber. At the same time, he's going to be involved in fake licenses, cars moving around. So it's a mess. And the Mnangagwa administration, that is how it has failed. Firstly, at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, and then by failing to create a formal system, which initially he had promised to do, and he has failed to do that. So this is a very important distinction between the actual investment that we need in Zimbabwe, which will flow through ZIDA, and the investment that the Chinese are bringing that flows through Mnangagwa's office. ZIDA is now it's just a white elephant. They don't know what to do because they don't know whether Mnangagwa is going to do the deals or they're going to do the deals. And on top of that, they hacked my phone when I went to Zimbabwe. I told you what they did over there. They hacked my phone, and I don't know why they're in that business. So now let's go to the next story. I tend to digress sometimes when I'm emotionally attached to a story. Let's go to Blessing Kasiyamhuru, and I want to go to the pictures now. I've got a few pictures I want to share with you. So Blessing Kasiyamhuru is a member of ZIP, one of the parties which are in Poland, I think. He has sued Nelson Chamisa for using the blue color. So I don't know if this is a true story. So I'll look for the actual court papers and I'll share them with you. I'll ask the robot to read them. Then we have this story here, very sad story, in the H Metro newspaper. This woman has, in the picture here, she has cut up another woman to pieces in Goromonzi. In Domboshawa. She beat up this woman because she accuses the woman of taking her husband. So the woman is hospitalized right now as we speak. She is in hospital. So she's called Delia Mukonyora, and she appeared in court yesterday. She cut her up to pieces with a machete. So that is a very sad story, which is in the H Metro. You can go and look at the H Metro newspaper. Always doing very well. The H Metro guys, they're doing a very good job. One of the best entertainment newspapers. I read the H Metro almost on a daily basis, and also the Newsday, of course. The Chronicle is not publishing very well. I think they've removed the editor here. I don't know what they've done, but suddenly I don't see much happening in the Chronicle newspaper. I'll be watching that very, very closely. Then we have the story in South Africa, which is the FNB Bank has removed or closed the bank accounts of President Jacob Zuma. This is likely to lead to a lot of problems in the KZN. The people in the KZN, they are much in love with President Jacob Zuma. 432 people died the last time there was a riots in KZN. So I hope that people handle this matter very, very delicately, because people in the KZN, they are feeling that Zuma is being attacked. And this is very, very sad. If the South African election falls to violence, it will become a big, big problem. I want to recap and then look at the comments. Or in fact, let's look at the comments and then recap. So let's look at the comments here. We're going to start at the top. Mukoma Gilbert is saying, reliable news, thank you very much. I want us to make this bigger. Let's make Kampako Media the biggest media house in Zimbabwe. Although I respect all the other media guys. We talk almost on a daily basis with a group of media guys here in Zimbabwe. As you know, I'm not media trained, but I'm here. You see, I'm here because of what I told you. I understand what is called the moment of truth. So let me tell you what is the moment of truth. And I want to appreciate Passion Java. So I think most guys don't understand how I became what I am now. I'm not saying Passion Java made me what I am. I'm just saying there is something that Passion Java told me that I'll never tell anyone. That made me come back to be in this business that I am in. There was a time when I got a very good package at one of the companies. I was a consultant, I think about a year or two back, and I did some work. The way I was quite comfortable, and my family could live very comfortably, and I was earning probably what I normally earn in 1 month, in 6 months, in 1 month. So I actually took some time to do that. Then I had a meeting with Passion Java one day, and he told me something that made me decide that I should continue doing what I'm doing now. And I appreciate that. And that thing I won't tell is like my secret. So if you know Passion Java, you know he's a very smart guy, the smartest guy in Zimbabwe. Mangaba will be no one without Passion Java. And the guys who know, they know what I'm talking about. So let me go to what I talk about when I say the moment of truth. The moment of truth is very important because many people fail when it's important. So when things are normal, everyone does well. So when the tide is rising, every ship rises. What I'm talking about is when things are really tough. That is when a true leader emerges. And there is also the second concept of not stopping. So everyone, you can run for 20 meters, 30 meters, 40 meters at high speed. But as you go to 100 meters, 200 meters, 1 kilometer, you start seeing the people that can last. So the moment of truth is rising when it's important and no one else wants to rise, and then continuing when everyone else has stopped. So that is my message and how it's important for me as a media house, Gambako Media, what I think about. I sleep the least, and I'm there the longest. So that is how it works, Mkoma. And I remember I'm responding to the comment of the media. Thank you very much, Mkoma, for your comment. Then let's go to Mkoma Clayton. Zigo Benzi. Zigo is not Benzi. He's a very hardworking young guy, but I think he tend to get lost, especially at this moment. I want to correct these young guys. Chamisa is the future. Do not be in the wrong direction. And I've said this to the young guys. Do not go and start trying to prop up Zuzana ED. Those guys have failed to do anything. Mangaba is not going to do anything until his term is over. When people remember Mangaba, they will remember that he did not do well. He had a chance, but did not do well. So do not be caught up with Zuzana ED. And that is my final statement on this. Do not be caught out there. Ngoma SAD has exhausted all avenues when it comes to addressing the stolen Zimbabwe election. They are now working hand in glove with ED. The big shock will be when ED becomes chairman in August. I partly agree with you, Ngoma MS, and you know that I respect your work and everything that you do. All I can say is where we are, it's a post-Mangaba era, whichever way. So Mangaba is not there anymore. Don't think or plan around Mangaba. That's all I can say. We can disagree on many things, but let's agree on that point. That Mangaba is not the one that is going to take us where we're going. He's failed us as a people. He's made people hungry. The country has never been so hungry as it is under Mangaba. Can you believe that our country is going to a point where people are failing to find something to eat? We're back to eating 1 meal a day. That is terrible. And Mangaba is doing nothing about it. At least Mugabe is zero. Mangaba does nothing. He doesn't remove the zeros. He doesn't fire anyone. He doesn't change anything in the Reserve Bank. He doesn't even make a statement about it. He just keeps quiet and everything keeps going down. And that's crazy. Mkoma MS is saying it is nothing without passion Java. That is a prank, right? I don't want to keep talking about Mkoma Wangu passion. Those are pins appetite. Saka, I'm leaving that. I don't want to keep talking about passion. I don't talk to him. I don't agree with everything he does. But that one thing that he told me, it helped me a lot. And I said people who know, they know what I'm talking about. Without Passion Java, Mangaba would not have a strategy at all. You would not even see him. And I believe that Passion Java is eventually one day people are going to come back and say, this guy is actually the one that helped Mangaba to item public, especially among the young people. But he's never been appreciated. You see, I saw Wikino having dinner with Java and Scott. They don't even know that Java is leaving his family in the United States and spending days and days on a plane to go to Zimbabwe and to help Mangaba with his campaigns in different parts of the country. And the things that Java is doing behind the scenes, no appreciation at all. And I was actually expecting after the elections, Java will be appointed. Now look what is Mangaba is appointed. And Sheila Chikomo, those guys, they're nothing compared to Java and the work that Java has done for Mangaba. And I know Java, at the end of the day, he goes and he has to sleep by himself at the hotel. With no appreciation for all the work that he's doing. He spends a lot of his own resources and Mangaba, you know what, once you do work for him, they will never help you with anything. They just leave him. It's as if they don't see the work that other people have done for him. Everyone who come back from Mangaba during the past elections, nothing has ever been done for them. Mangaba has got his own template. He follows those guys that he originally works with. All the guys that help him with anything, he doesn't work. He doesn't help them with anything. Look at Maponga. Maponga is all over the place. He has damaged his career and he's damaged his image as a person or man of God and impartial person campaigning for ED. After that, nothing. They haven't even done anything for him. This is the legacy. They will not help you with anything. And young people, I'm talking about Zigo here. Remember, the Chiti. If you are told by one to come and let's work together, Don't go there. Stick with people that are coming, like an Chamisa. Those people, if Chamisa doesn't help you with anything, the economy will be working. You'll be able to do your things. Don't go to Chamisa hoping kuti Chamisa just on the motor or Chamisa will appoint me. The fact that he's going to fix the economy, he's going to make things work, he's not going to kill people, are going to be investigated. You think Scott right now will be walking scot-free after Zogaitika Kuna Pastor Masai? When someone is campaigning in your constituency, someone is killed in cold blood, and you're walking around. So don't support such things, and I won't support it, and I do not care about it. Like, I don't even spend a day thinking I will half support someone who killed someone during a campaign. That will not happen, and I don't care about it. Don't care what happens. We must be people. If something's wrong, it's wrong. So, Zana Scott, all these people that make people disappear, that won't be there under Chamisa, and that is what we want. So, young guys, don't go here. Don't go to this thing. It's at the end. Mkoma Peter, you said I must read your comment. Java sold his soul to the devil. He helps people in Zimbabwe suffering. How did then praise such a person? I'm not praising Java. I'm saying he told me one thing. In my whole life, I've spent approximately 1 hour with Passion Java in about 4 or 5 different occasions. That guy, he can tell you something in 1 minute that is going to change your life, because originally Java was actually a prophet. So you must understand what I'm talking. The caliber of Java is the same caliber. Yana Makandiwa, Yana, I spend a lot of time with prophets, but Java is probably the smartest of them all, because Java Adendapanevan. You see, Makandiwa, you never see him with people, or Magaya, you never see him with people, except with girls. You never see them at that level. Java will come and he'll phone me at my office, and I'll meet him and have dinner or lunch with Java. But it won't be me there sitting by himself. I've only sat one-on-one with Java for a few seconds. But with that moment when we are with him, he's going to interact with you at a personal level. Java has made serious errors. So let me give you one of the errors that Java made, which I've never talked about. But I'm not saying it takes away from what I've been saying. There was an accident, Yakauraya, this girl in Chitungiza, and Java's car, motorcade, Yakaroa, that girl. I was very disappointed because Java didn't go to that family to say what happened. He came out complaining and crying. I don't know if Java has sent people there, but I was very disappointed because Java didn't go. So he made errors there. But on average, when I talk about people that helped him in Mangaba, Java will come up at the top, because most of the people around Mangaba, they are clueless. Especially the guys at the president's office, they are clueless. The guys in the Ministry of Information are clueless. They do not know what they're doing. That is why Mangaba is failing to do anything. The guys at the RBZ, they are clueless. If you go to Zida, it's a mess. I went there, spent time there. The things I'm telling you are not things that I do not know. I'm talking about things that I know. Competent people around Mangaba don't get rewarded. They instead get sidelined by notions of violence around Mangaba. So when Mangaba eventually fails, you point to the fact that he did not reward the competent people that assisted him. I will tell you stories. The people that I've met, you cannot believe. So I'm not a YouTuber like Zigo, but I'm telling you things that if I'm sitting here over the past 10 years, for example, Java was operating in the shadows. Many of you didn't know. You used to know Nanun Stuart Nyamara, but that was long back. I can point you back to that period before 2018 and what happened. So you must understand why Mnangagwa is failing and why I'm saying why post Mnangagwa era. I'm not talking about this very lightly. But they failed to take opportunity that was presented to him. Mnangagwa was presented opportunity. And Chamisa, all he has to do is to continue doing what he's doing. Demand dialogue and make sure that he continues moving away from the infiltrated people And eventually you're going to see he's going to get into the presidency. He's going to do very, very well. So I'd like to thank you. And Mugoma Peter Tosh, I see Murugita fight in Mugoma MS. I know Mugoma MS. You have to call me and talk to me, then I'll understand you. Mugoma MS is been in the media space for a very, very long time. And I appreciate all the people that I know in the media space. I believe that we should have different kind of media. Mamaruku left, Mamaruku right. But we are all Zimbabweans and we need to make this thing work. Chamisa is doing well. I believe his direction of dialogue is correct. And I believe that Mangaba is wrong by not having dialogue with Chamisa, by not rewarding people around him who assist him, and by running this thing that is running everything on the ground and never fixing anything. So that is where I disagree with Mangaba. He doesn't fix anything. You see things falling, and he still stays with things like that. My government civil servants are kutambura. I've got messages here daily from civil servants saying Gambako, we are suffering here. Guys in the military are earning $100. Do you know how much I was earning when I was working in Zimbabwe? At the bank, my salary was $5,000. I bought my first car within the first year. I bought my first house within my first 2 years. My first paid up house in 2003. Borodo was booming at that time. And Mugabe had gone to New York, where he met with the guys like the guys at NMB. If you ask Mtuma he will tell you he's meeting with Mugabe in New York, where they were working in the World Bank. Mangaba doesn't know such things. Xinzhi is really so local, and you cannot come to him and work. So I'm not talking lightly here, and I can see that it's now day. So the birds have come to the lake. So let me end this here. My brothers, great love for our country. I hope that things get better. But Mkomal Bukari says, what pains me most, the culture of defying people, patronage, and all that being based around materialism and short-term gratification. Mkoma Peter, I'm sorry I didn't see that comment of yours, which you mentioned, but we'll be talking. You know my number. Let's have a chat during the day. But we are at a critical juncture right now. Mangaba has to accept the dialogue call by Chamisa, then we can move forward. I know a lot of people want to move forward, but Mangaba is now the stumbling block because of what he's doing. And no one in ZANU-PF even wants to hear about the third term, which he's doing. That thing that I showed yesterday. I know most of you were looking for that picture. Put it could be picture. Picture of Mangaba with the youths. Apparently, he's still trying to do a third term. So I'll try to find that picture where they went and met with the youth this weekend, or the youth, and Idi was over there trying to address them to support his third term. So I don't know what I've done with that picture, but I'll find it so that at least the people know who are these guys who met Mangaba, can show us who are the guys. So thank you very much everyone for watching. I'm talking about this picture in fact. So this picture shows all the youths who met with Mangaba to discuss his third term. There are also other activities taking place around the third term. He hasn't stopped, but he'll be stopped. So that is where we are currently. We need to move. We need to move to the next phase in our country. And as I said, Chamisa, very, very popular, coming back. And we appreciate the fact that he's back to take his position. We need that leadership from Chamisa. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And I'll be back tomorrow. As I said, I'm traveling. I'm actually currently on the road. Then what we'll do is, within the next 3 weeks, my travels will be finished. Then we'll be back to me being able to sit in front of the newspapers and all that. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If nothing happens, if nothing big happens, I'll be back tomorrow. But if something happens, I'll come back with the breaking news